we have another unified cloud gateway from Ubiquiti, and this is the one I think a lot of you have been waiting for. It starts at $189. It runs all the UniFi apps like Talk and Protect. It's a 2.5 gigabit switch, and it all fits right on your desk. I'll show you the initial setup, the unique features in this router, whether or not this router will work for your environment, or if you should look at the Cloud Gateway Ultra, and that might be sufficient for you at a lower cost, or if you should pass on these altogether and actually look at the Dream Machine Pro. Let's find out. My name is Bogdan Shperny, founder of Apex One IT. All my content is free to you. All I ask is that you subscribe and smash the like button. If you need help choosing a unified cloud gateway, just watch till the end of this video, or just now you can comment down below in the comment section and I'll help you decide which gateway you need. If you do need the Cloud Gateway Max, see my link in the video description. First, let's open up the UCG-Max and set it up. And here's the Cloud Gateway Max. And this is the 512 gigabyte option. And you can see the model number is UCG-Max. And this should be the extension. Here's the piece itself. Here's the power supply. Then we have nice. So it's the ether lighting. It's not the regular UniFi patch cable, but it's the ether lighting. And we got the key for the hard drive and a couple of feet. And here's an important note. So you don't want to remove this storage while it's on. That answers that question. It's not hot swappable. And yeah, very similar to the Ultra. It's about 1 pound and it's no more than 6 inches wide, 1.2 inches tall, so it can fit in a 1U rack. And I am going to put this on my desk, so I'll put these little rubber feet on. So we have some ventilation here. So we have our reset port, our USB-C or Type-C for power, the WAN port, so that's where the internet goes in from your modem or ONT. And we got 4 LAN ports, so all of them are 2.5 gigabit. And I believe the 4th one here we can also use as a second WAN. So if we have a second ISP, we can use that. And on the right side, we have our hard drive here. If we just use the key, push that in, this pops out. This is the 512 gigabyte option. And even if you get the no storage option, you can actually buy your own drives and install them. This bit is a Torx 9, so you'll need something like this. It's pretty unique. You probably don't have a Torx 9 lying around, just letting you know before you try to swap this. And you can just insert that right back and get that nice click. And the one I have here is the 512 gigabyte, right? And that comes in at $279. Then we also have the no storage option, that's $199. And again, you can actually upgrade that to whatever you want, as far as I know. And then we have the 1 terabyte that's going to be $349 and the 2 terabyte at $479. The power supply is a 25 watts, 5 volts, 5 amps Type-C, and then it has your standard sort of 3-prong extension right here. Now, before we actually plug in the devices, let's take a look at what we're going to do here. So you have your ISP, your internet service provider, and that typically goes to a modem or ONT if you have fiber. And then you'll have an Ethernet cable, so RJ45 Ethernet cable, from there into your UCG-Max, into your unified gateway, which is this device in this case. And again, I'll show you how to plug that in. And then off of that, we're going to add a PoE switch. So we have a USW Ultra. This is the 60 watt version. But in any case, whatever switch, this is just what I'm actually going to show you. And at the end of the video, I'll show you some other configurations you can do. But we'll have a switch and we'll add a Wi-Fi access point off of that switch because we need PoE to power this access point. All right, so let's get this set up. And here's all the equipment that I showed you in the diagram. So let's get our UCG-Max powered on. There it goes. And then this is the Ethernet cable from our modem. So we'll just plug it into this WAN port with that internet icon. And then let's hook up our switch, so any of these LAN ports, and to our UCG Ultra here. Then our access point, and any of the ports on the switch. And I do have a spare G5 bullet, so let's get that connected. And Ubiquiti says we can get this set up in about 5 minutes. It's been about 30 seconds, so let's see if we can do that. Okay, so it's all booted up and it says download the app, so we'll get the UniFi app and we'll set it up. And you can also go to this IP address on your computer to set this up as well. Now everything's plugged in and all I'm doing is mirroring my iPad to the display so we can go through this together. It'll be the same thing like on your iPhone, Android. you just want to make sure you have Bluetooth on. So let's jump into the UniFi app. Right away, we see we have the Cloud Gateway Max. It pops up and we just tap on setup. So it's connecting. And you can give your console a name here. Typically, I would put this as the name of your site or business or something. So business, site 1, and UCG-Max. Let's go next. And it does the speed test just to kind of let you know what to expect. Okay, and just click next. We can always run the speed test again later. And it's telling us, 50 seconds for setup, and it's kind of giving us some info on what we can do with our UniFi gateway. And here in a minute, after we add all the other UniFi devices, we'll go through the unique settings here for this UCG-Max so you can really take advantage of it. All right, setup complete. Go to dashboard. UniFi is prompting us to adopt these devices, but just in case this does not pop up for you, you can close that. And here at the bottom, hit the second icon, which is your UniFi devices. So first thing we want to do is adopt the switch. So we'll do that. It's adopting, and that's the U6 Plus, the wireless access point. So let's click that. We see the switch is online already. We did add the camera here. You will need to get UniFi Protect. So I already have the app installed. Otherwise, it will prompt you to download and install it. And even before we do that, we should actually go to, so the bottom here, settings, bottom right settings, and let's go OS settings, applications, and we want to install Protect, which is what runs our cameras on here. As you can see, you can install all the other apps if you got UniFi Talk. For example, it's all right there. So let's click install. And if there were updates here, by the way, right, it would tell you update it. So our network system, operating system kind of thing, software is up to date. But right now it should be installing Protect, and we'll come back to that. In case the Protect app didn't start itself, you just click start, and now it's starting. We'll be able to adopt our cameras to our UniFi gateway. So let's go back to our devices. So that's second tab again. So we see our switch, our access point is online. Now I'll wait for that camera. Well, we can probably actually go ahead and go in there. In the UniFi Protect app now, so this pops up to add this device. So we'll go ahead and add the G5. If you click on the second tab, you'll see any other cameras you have added. And of course, there's an update, so it'll do its thing there. So let's go back to our UniFi app. So we have all the devices essentially adopted, everything that we plugged in. We can now manage. We can go back to our dashboard there in the bottom left. Look at our topology. So this is kind of your network topology, how everything's connected, right? So we have our UCG-Max right here to our switch and our PoE powered access points and our PoE powered camera. Now, your network should be essentially up and running, so that probably did take a couple minutes. I'm not sure until after this edit, we'll see how long this actually took. So you can plug in devices to your switch, your computer, and that will work. Now, to actually have the Wi-Fi working, we do need to do some more settings to turn that on. And I'll show you how to do that right now and some other unique UCG-Max features that we have here. But just so you know, if you need a complete business kind of setup configuration of the UniFi gateway, just go ahead. I'll have a video linked up right now on the screen or in the description, and you can watch how to do that. But I'll go through the basics here. So let's go ahead and set up the Wi-Fi first. So at the bottom right, we click on this gear icon, back to settings. We want to go to Wi-Fi, and we have no Wi-Fi networks, no SSIDs. So let's click add new. Go ahead and put a name in for your Wi-Fi. So let's say this is the office, and don't use this password. Yep, that's for sure. So networks, we have defaults, which APs are broadcasting. That's meaning like if you had more than one, you can select unique access points that are going to be sending this one. We just want all of them. And if you want to, there's some manual options here, but I won't get into that. Just auto, and let's add. So it's going to interrupt if we're connected to it. It's going to interrupt any client's devices that are connected through Wi-Fi. Well, we have nothing right now, so that's fine. So just give that a minute or two, and then you'll be able to connect to that Wi-Fi point. And let's just keep going down the list of settings here. So networks will skip internet. So this is unique to the UCG, not just this one, but other ones as well. So you see we have the primary WAN here, WAN 1. So this is where we plugged in our internet, right? That's port 5 right there. That says primary. But we also have port 4, which right now is used as a LAN port, meaning local area network. We can also plug in a secondary internet provider there. So maybe you have fiber for one, but you want a fallback and you pay maybe something cheaper for a slower speed. You can hook that up directly on 4. That way, if your primary is down, you still at least have some kind of internet. So you see right here, this is our primary source. It's on port 5. And we could add, right now it's disabled because we're using it as a LAN port, but we could enable it and add another source there. I would set up automatic speed tests so that you constantly can upkeep and know what speeds you're getting. If it's meeting the expectations that your ISP is saying you should be getting. We probably don't need it daily. I would put it at weekly. Monday is fine. And you could do it when it's off peak right now, like at 5 a.m. But ideally, maybe something around lunchtime would be good to do a test during that time when it's really being used, so you know your true speeds, right? And that's all there. Let's jump back. Of course, it has VPN here. So one of the easiest ways is just to use teleport. And if you're on your phone, you're on another computer, you can download Wi-Fi Man, enable teleport, and you'll be able to VPN, right? So access your local network here instead of, some public internet. And there's a bunch more that we can look into there. Let's jump to security. So this is an important part. We want to turn on the internet filter, and that's our suspicious activity here. So we can go auto, and essentially it's going to notify us right there, filter mode, notify us if it finds something suspicious, and the level of detection of sensitivity is medium. So you can click save there. If you want to go ahead and update that, you can just go back in, go to advanced. And now instead of maybe notify, you can do, I usually do notify and block. So it blocks that activity right away. And I would just do high all the way. So especially if your internet speeds allow that. And you go to, edit detection types, and it shows you here all the different ones that it has, right? So you can manually configure that if you want, but that's what high does for you. And that's 35 out of 35 possible ones that you can do. So let's click save and save again. So all that is all good. And then the traffic firewall rules. I mean, these are powerful. I'm not even going to go into advanced, but you could, this is subscription fee. This is why you get UniFi as well. It's all built in to the device itself. So you can do a bunch of traffic rules here. Again, I won't get into all that, but you can block certain devices, source, what device, destination. Maybe you don't want to get to a certain app group. So maybe like social apps or something like that, social networks, and you just want to block devices. You can do that here. Again, just kind of sort of teasing you what you can do here, but we won't go into all those details. In system, we can go to, for example, like push notifications. So this bell, this is your mobile notifications, and then the email notifications right there. So you can change all that. You will have updates on by default and backups every month, but you can change that. In advanced, you'll have Wi-Fi Man support on by default, and that's what allows you to use teleport, for example. Okay, and that's about it for our network settings if you just want the basics. And let's go back to our UniFi devices. For UniFi Protect, let's jump into the browser. So you can go to unifi.ui.com and you'll just sign in to your account. So right now we're in network by default. That's where it takes you. And again, we can do things, for example, let's hit the speed test run here. Okay, so I'm getting 800 down, 940 up. I'm paying for a gig, so I just connected it. So we'll see, right? It should be, if it's by around 900, that's considered pretty good and accurate for these kind of speeds. So let's jump in to Protect, which will be right here. And the first time is gonna have a couple of splash screens, smart detection, sure. Let's have that on. Here in the dashboard, I'm not gonna go over all the settings for Protect, but just so you can see our NVR, which is right now our UCG-Max, our Cloud Gateway Max. So we see this is our capacity 494, the actual usable one, and we used up, it's basically recording right now the camera for the last 40 minutes nonstop, and we used up 5 gigs, and that's at 2K, right? So this is a 2K camera. If you hover over here, it'll tell you available capacity, which is not the total capacity it can do. This is saying with the devices you already have running on here, the cameras, how much more it can add. And the other important thing here, we can adjust all the settings of how it records at 500 gigs. You can tell that, if you had like actual 8 2K cameras, you're not going to record for many days if you're doing 24/7 recording. So you might want to set up some things like certain cameras if you have more than one, recording only actual motion detections so that, you're not just running through the storage too quickly. And again, that only depends on how many cameras you have. And everything else like the actual devices, the playback, all the detections, you can see all that in the app as well. Well, kind of this part, I want to show you the camera capacity. You can't see that in the app. But all of this, that's all in that Protect app as well. Before you actually go out, and think you need a UCG-Max, I just want to show you a couple of use cases, and then we'll compare it to the other cloud gateways you can get. Because it's not necessarily you need this device, right? This is the newest, coolest thing from UniFi, quote unquote, better than the UCG Ultra. But again, if you don't actually need it, don't actually get it, right? You better optimize. Anyone can go out there and just buy the most powerful, the UniFi EFG or something. That's crazy. You don't need that, right? So think about the UCG-Max the same way. So let me give you the most basic setup if you really want to go with the UCG-Max is having something like this. So you can actually purchase the UCG-Max and you can get U6 mesh. And that actually comes with a PoE injector, which powers the wireless access point, which means you don't even need to get a PoE switch. This will be enough and you'll have still 3 ports left on the back to connect a computer, maybe like a Synology NAS, something like that. So this is the most simple setup. You just buy this and this device and you're good to go. You can literally do that. And this here just shows you kind of the back of what that looks like, right? All of these are 2.5 gigabit and that's how it connects. Now, what I showed you here today, for instance, right, was this one. So same thing, right? You're getting your internet to your Cloud Gateway Max here. And in this case, I added, this is a 1 gigabit switch. So it's not 2.5. So you're not really taking advantage of the 2.5 on the back there. Okay, just letting you know if you go this route. The reason why you might want to go this route is kind of quote unquote future proof, right? If you want your UniFi Cloud Gateway to last a while as things upgrade and maybe you will need 2.5, that's why you will set it up like that. But even in this scenario, most likely a UCG Ultra will be pretty good for you. And just wanted to show you, right, this can get a lot more complicated. 4 LAN ports on the back of the Max. You have now additional 7 here that you can use. So you can really deploy this in a small business, right? Several workstations, PCs, especially if you have like a VoIP phone, right? On the back of those, you can connect a workstation and still use a PC, right, workstation through that. So that reduces the number of ports that you need from a switch. If you know about it, this is not your standard switch here, one of these like small utility ones. Like it doesn't have LLDP, which is typically used by VoIP phones. That's not required for UniFi Talk, things like that. But some older phones, VoIP phones, then they need that. So just letting you know, and you can connect obviously a bunch more cameras, things like that. You just have to watch your PoE budget on this switch. Okay, so this is a very realistic, you can totally do this and obviously a bunch more devices here as well. And I'm showing these all connected to the PoE switch, right? But like a computer, if you don't need PoE, you don't need that power, then you can connect directly to the gateway as well. Now, this is sort of like top tier setup here with the Cloud Gateway Max. I mean, you can do even more. You can add multiple switches here. But the reason why I showed this one in particular is because it has 4 2.5 gigabit ports here. There's more expensive ones, again, that you can get larger. They have one that's like 8 or 10 that are all 2.5 gigabit PoE switches, but you don't, most likely you don't need that. Now this switch, so this is the Pro Max 16 PoE, and you can now take advantage of that 2.5, right, connection. So 2.5 here, back to the switch. And for example, if you updated something like your Synology, 2.5 can be useful if you're really sending a lot of files back and forth with your NAS. Maybe you're doing video editing, for example, right? This is the way I would be utilizing this. I would be using those 2.5 ports to my Synology and also back to the Cloud Gateway. And same thing here. So if you had one of the new access points from UniFi that use 2.5 and it has PoE++ on here, so you can directly connect a wireless access point that can actually take advantage of that and those internet speeds as well. And of course, again, your phones, workstations, anything like that, access cameras, you can connect here as well. This is the deployment that UniFi shows you, or Ubiquiti. They actually have 2.5 gigabit switches here, 2 of them. But again, like for cameras, you really don't need that. But this is showing you, right? You can use intercom access, all their stuff, phones, connect. That's all here that you can run from the Gateway Max. So it is a powerful device, right? Especially for a desktop. This is why it's in their Max line, because for this form factor, for such a nice, clean desktop device, it is quite powerful. Because otherwise, you're looking at going to like a UDM SE Pro or Pro Max. And let's actually take a look at those and compare it to this one. If you go to UniFi and then the Cloud Gateways here, you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this comparison chart they have, which is pretty useful. I mean, we're not going to this EFG, okay, because I'm focusing this on small business and basically almost no one's going to use that for that. So here's our Gateway Max. And just to help you choose here which one to go to, I mean, first of all, if you do need help with this, I mean, you can comment down below. Let me know what your internet provider is, what kind of speeds you're getting, how large your site is. And I can just help. I can just answer your comment and give you, an exact way that we would deploy this if we would do this for your business or for your home office, right? I would say before you choose your cloud gateway, you want to start with, again, your internet speed. What's your ISP, your internet provider, giving you? If you're at 1 gigabit per second here, I mean, you're not going to go with the Express. First of all, it doesn't have, so IDS, IPS, this is that suspicious activity detection here, right? So the Express doesn't have it. We're not even going to compare it to that really. You could go with the Dream router. Again, if you have already 1 gigabits per second, then it just doesn't make sense. When you have that security detections on, suspicious activity, it gets you down to 300 megabits. So that's out of the question here. Now, the Cloud Gateway Ultra, I mean, that really gets you 1 gigabit per second because they do have the WAN input. It's actually not 1 gigabit, it's a 2.5. So even when you turn on suspicious detections, you'll still get 1 gigabit throughput here. So this can still work for you. And it works for you if all you need is networking from it. If you just want networking from it, right, that's the only application that it can run. It cannot do Protect like the Cloud Gateway can, or UniFi Talk, or any of those. It cannot do that. So if you just want the networking, this is perfect for you. And even if you kind of want to keep your devices separate, right, if you want to still get cameras, you can buy a separate NVR, things like that, and still run it. It's just that the Cloud Gateway Max, if you kind of have a small camera deployment, overall is going to be cost effective just to get the Cloud Gateway Max. But then you only have one device to do everything, right? That's good or bad. If you just want kind of small footprint on your desk, that's great. But in terms of just upgradability, you need a faster Wi-Fi access point. You have a separate device for that. You need a new NVR. You can just upgrade that. You need a new gateway. You can just update that separately. So that's where the Cloud Gateway Ultra is good in that point. And remember, the ports here on the Ultra are 1 gigabit. And just think about the 2.5 if you really need that. Most of you out there just don't need it. You're going to have the devices that plug in there to actually be able to interact with that 2.5. And again, it's useful for like your local, your LAN, so outside your internet. If you're communicating in-house, like with a NAS, things like that, then that can be useful. And again, if your NAS has at least 2.5 or like, with Synology, you can put a 10 gigabit jack on there and you can use that with 2.5, that will work fine. So for those use cases, yeah, you want to go ahead now to the Max. Otherwise, the Ultra is fine for you. I'll skip the Dream Wall here. It's very unique if you're really limited for space, like it says here. But you might be considering a Dream Machine Pro or an SE. And you can see the throughput, even with the suspicious activity, is 3.5. So that's plenty of speed. You also have 100 unified devices, 1,000 clients, right? Again, I'm focused on small business. You're never going to get to 1,000 clients. Most of you, 300, that means like people connected devices, computers, smartphones, how many? You're not going to reach 300 either. So that's why these still all work for you. And unified devices, 30, again, unified devices is like cameras, access points, switches, okay? So that's 30. And again, you'll probably be fine with 30. If you're not, that's when you want to go to the Dream Machine Pro, Dream Machine SE. And also if you're, again, internet speed needs to be that high. These, of course, can also run all your other applications, just like the Max, but they cost more, right? And you do have storage with these as well, but you need to bring your own storage. Essentially, it just has drives for your standard 3.5 hard drives, where this you're buying with built-in storage or just that tray for NVMe SSD storage, right? So SS drives. Let's look at the prices here. Dream Machine Pro, for example, is at $379, where the Pro Max starts at $200, right? That's the no storage option, but you can also buy your own storage if you need that in the future. So the Gateway Max just kind of gives you flexibility if you want to even just try out UniFi cameras without getting additional gear or try UniFi Talk. This is a great device for that. And special edition, so with this one, you should know, right? It has PoE, some other things, that's why it's $500. If we look at the Cloud Gateway Max, the Ultra, if you recall, it's $129, so $130. Okay, this is just for that networking. So your Cloud Gateway Max starts at $199 to $200 for no storage, which is kind of comparable again to the Ultra, but it's a 1 gigabit switch. And the Max runs all your applications, right? And you can, of course, selectable and upgrade the SSD. And the most popular one, the one I've tested here today, is that $279 price point. You can even go up to a 2 terabyte, a lot more storage now, and can handle longer recording time, right? So that's $479. If you found this video helpful in this comparison and it helps you decide if you need the Cloud Gateway Max, or maybe I saved you some money and you just need the Ultra, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe. I also have an affiliate link now from Ubiquiti that you can use down in the description if you need to purchase any of these cloud gateways. It doesn't cost you anything else to use that link, and you get a better warranty when you actually shop directly from UniFi rather than other places. Although I do know sometimes they're out of stock, sometimes, especially like the one that I reviewed here. But for all the other accessories that I had here, I also have links for you to the Amazon store affiliate links. If you have questions, post those questions, comments in the comments section down below. If you need help actually designing, which cloud gateway to get, what switches, you can post that in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer that, or reach out using the contact links in the video description. Thanks for watching. Take care.